But in the meantime, let's talk about, but I mean, I agree with all of that so far. So let's now talk about the Housewife and the Shah Shocker.
Okay, Chandler, dying for your thoughts. I know I kind of was a little, I went on too long when it came to OC. So what are your thoughts on the Housewife and the Shah Shocker?
So the Housewife and the Shah Shocker was, I'm just going to be totally honest, I think it wasn't as much of a shocker as I was hoping. I would say that I guess I compared it to The Housewife and the Hustler because it was another Hulu production. And The Housewife and the Hustler floored me. Like I watched it with my boyfriend and we were both just like jaw dropping. Like I think The Housewife and the Hustler about Erica Jane and Tom Girardi like really exposed everything. And like it just, to me, it added so much context to that scandal. Whereas this one, it felt a little bit sensationalized. Like it didn't have a ton of meat on the bones, you could say. So I have some parts of it that I did think were interesting, but I don't know if anyone else got that read. Like I feel like the real drama is truly happening on the show and it's ongoing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of got that read. I didn't really learn much. I didn't really was like, okay, like, did we try to rush this out just because the ratings for the Housewife and the Hustler were so good? And we're just not as invested in Jen's drama as we are Erica's. We have more years with Erica as people, I think. I think that's
right.
Part of it. Have you ever been excited by that big sign free trial? You sign up and you don't even realize it's a subscription that renews without your consent. My life has changed since I discovered Truebill. Truebill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forget about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill because companies make subscriptions so hard to cancel. Have you ever actually realized you were paying for a subscription and then tried to cancel it? You have to scroll around that website so many times, click so many buttons. Truebill makes it so simple. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/velvetrope. Go right now. Truebill.com/velvetrope. It could save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/velvetrope. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out betterhelp.com/velvetrope. You may not be feeling down and out and depressed or like you're at a total loss, but if your stress level is high, your temper is shorter than usual, or even if you're starting to feel strain in any of your relationships, you could probably use the chance to unload. Talk to someone who's completely unbiased and who's not going to judge you or take sides. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Unload the stressors and get some unbiased feedback. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Behind the Velvet Rope listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/velvetrope. That's BetterHelp.com/velvetrope. BetterHelp.com/velvetrope. And I think, you know what it is? I mean, Erica was a huge fan favorite. People loved Erica. And so It's like, they also love like a lynch mob fall from grace.
Totally.
And like Jen Shah is just an unlikable human being right from the beginning. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe people love her, but it wasn't as much of a, like, I don't know. It's not as much of like a takedown, which people seem to love.
When I was watching it, I just kind of felt like there was, like you guys said, no real new specific information. Like I liked watching and seeing how these telemarketing scams actually work, but I don't even feel like they said, and this is exactly what Jen Shah's scam was doing. They were like, well, this is the realm of telemarketing scams, but they never really specifically talk about what Jen Shah was doing, and what even the scammers she was involved with were doing. They just kind of like they were talking about it in general, and there wasn't, like you guys said, like anything new really to sink our teeth into.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. You know, like when the victims came on, I'm like, oh my God, like I feel bad for these older people.
Yes.
I mean, you know, all the people they choose to make the comments. I mean, I've had Dana. I'm friends with Dana, but let's just take her out of it because, you know, everyone's about to call her and tell her that I've just shaded her. But like, let's just focus on like this guy who's like the super fan. And I'm just like, where are they finding these people?
Right. I didn't know where half of these people came from. They had like her assistant or her stylist who was like scorned in that like voicemail, and he was on it, but like I didn't find that part to be like all that shocking. It just felt like a rehashing.
I had him on this show. It's a whole, I have a whole story with him last year. It's like a whole weird thing of like, I don't know. I think he reached out to me. Maybe I reached out to him. I don't know how the whole thing started. And like, he was going to talk to me. And then like, we got on to do this interview and it was like, he wouldn't, it was literally it's on my like top 3 of the strangest interviews I've ever done in my life. Like I have nothing against him at all, but it was just like, you're not answering any fucking question. Then like 20 minutes after we hung up, he was on page 6, like breaking his silence. I'm like, well, you were obviously paid for this. Like, I don't know if you were paid $1, $250. I'm not fucking paying you. I mean, I haven't paid anyone ever, nor will I, because I don't need to, but it was more like you could have canceled the interview. And like, I'm glad you kind of did it, but it was just the strangest interview. And he was looking left the whole time. And I'm weird. Like, sweetheart, I have eyes. We're on Zoom. Like, who the fuck is standing to your left? Like, what is someone nodding? Like, is there like a cue card? Like, yes, answer. No, don't answer. I swear to God, it was the strangest thing. And I'm like, you were looking, and the video's on my Patreon. So it's like, people can watch it. It's like the strangest thing. I'm like, who are you looking? So that was just weird as well. Right.
So yeah, that his whole interview was strange. That's crazy that he was like skittish, or at least like shifty on yours. I also thought that they brought up the fact that she faced a lot of racism and discrimination growing up in Salt Lake, you know, being Tongan or Polynesian. And I found that to be like valid and interesting, but I think it was just like, I don't think that gives someone license to then, you know, be a scammer. And so I just thought that like, that was an odd defense, I guess, like defensive side to bring into this. It's like, so you get to then, you know, scam elderly people. I don't know.
Yeah. Like Dana tried to bring that shit up when she was here. And I was just like, okay, like I had a miserable childhood. Like I was like a fat gay kid, like in the suburbs that was bullied. Like, you know, yeah, it led to issues. Yes, then I've worked them out. Like, I don't think I'm just against anyone relying on like, this is my crutch for being like,
yes,
but right. Certainly whatever issues you have that may take somebody longer to work out. How does that give you the license to scam people? Like,
yes.
I get it. You feel the world owes you and you're going to show everyone to be richer and more beautiful than I get the psychology behind it, but no.